Snakewood Nip Hustle. Big shout out to my SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
And then they be trying to act like they them, trying to live that out in real life.
Exactly.
Thinking
Goofy
this shit
fuck.
real.
A lot of people
wondering why you can't keep a nigga or something.
A lot of the women that are living for their work hard all week, turn up over on the weekend, getting drunk, having a hangover, saying, "Oh, I'm never gonna drink again." Right back when Monday come back around, they going back hard at work, and then what they doing Friday again, going back out, turning up again, bro. It's the same repetitive cycle.
And that's another cycle that you don't realize you get caught in. Because I was in that for a minute, where it'd be like people would hit me now, be like, it's Friday, and I'd be like, I'm in the bed. Because they're like, it don't matter now. I treat the days the same. Like, you get the most out of every day if you live in a certain way, you try to at least. And it's like, because you get stuck in a cycle where, like you just said, work slave for the 5 days, then I'm partying on weekends. Slave for the 5 days, party on weekend. That becomes a repetitive cycle. Then you wake up and you 50 years old and you sick with nothing, ain't live no type of life.
I think a lot of it too is our culture has a tendency to live in a bubble where it's like we believe that this is the only thing that exists. And this is the most important shit that exists. Like, we always have the conversation, people are like, I don't care about politics. Like, that's not something that we can even think of because that's not in our bubble. That's not in our everyday, tangible things that we can touch and see and feel. So I think black people also, in our culture, the people who create the content, they have to get outside of our bubble of what our culture even is, because a lot of it is just plainly that. Once you get outside of the bubble of what the culture is and you start to put shit on a scale of what is really important to the world compared to what our culture is, it'll have so much less value where maybe you will want to go and create other content, give people different types of messages and knowledge, because you're going to realize that, hey, this is a very, very, very small percentage of what the world is. Even on
Facts on my mama. He is cooking. I want to let him land, but I got to get in right here, man. I started reflecting recently after my name was caught up in so much negativity online on just what he said. And the motivations that caused me to reflect had nothing to do with what the comments were saying, nothing to do with what the content creators were saying. That was totally muted in my mind. What took place was my father, who is almost 80 years old, who lives in Arizona, he reached out to me based on the way it looked on YouTube, negative, just in general. My mother, who is almost 80 years old, reached out to me with a long text message. Her sister, who is also almost 80 years old, reached out to me with a long text message with concern just with the way things looked. People who typically do not tap in and speak on what's going on with me on YouTube. And when those three individuals, I'm talking about, they were in a list of almost maybe close to, I don't want to say 100, but during the last couple of weeks, I was getting checked on, tapped in with by people haven't heard in for ages. So much concern, interest coming my way. But the three individuals that caused me to really contemplate the way I was conducting myself were three senior citizens. And I had to think about it. When I talk to my children, my peers, my family members, we very seldom discuss the subject matter that they see my name in the headlines with. So it's shocking to them. Like, damn, this is not the Norvell I know. Even my father, this ain't the Spider I know. He called me, say, man, I seen you on the podcast and you said something, and you said something. Is that? I said, yeah. He said, cut that shit out, man. He said, man, you didn't remind me of the distinguished ex-gangbanger that I know you to be. I said, say less, Pops. He said, yeah. And then I'll leave the things that my mother and her sister said unsaid because it was a lot more emotional and passionate. But I had to actually reflect on how I actually carry myself on a day-to-day basis and what I was allowing myself to be portrayed as on these platforms. And they wasn't jiving. I was allowing myself to get on these platforms and revert to a version of myself that I actually no longer even wish to or desire to even have exist. It's a portion of myself that's in the past, but sometimes it naturally erupts when I allow myself to discuss certain subject matter. I come from a history of street, hip hop, battling, beef, banging, and those tools are always there and available for me to utilize when it comes to public presentation. But that's just like having a tool that's too large, a big screwdriver or a large hammer, or you only need it for a small job. There's no need. Well, I don't even have a desire to even be in that mind frame no more. It's dusty, it's dirty. You feel me? I'm the nigga at the bar coasting to the hood live. You the nigga that's stuck trying to pull me back, right? 50 had that one figured out. Oh, blah.
On social media, it may seem like this is the know all be all, right? Because it's drama and it's violence and it's whatever the case is that's pushing it. But when you get outside of that and even just following different people on social media, you'll see that this is a very small portion of what's making shit turn.
Hey, and understand this, man. Y'all gotta change the way y'all reach out and deal with people. Cause now we starting to get a lot of motion. Our names is getting dropped in a lot of rooms that we ain't even in yet, that we finna be in. And people starting to want to get attached to that, but they don't know how to just say, hey, let's work. So they feel like they gotta throw shots because that's how they see everybody else doing it. We keep telling y'all we're not a part of this fake world. You notice how we came in the game. Our second episode ever was about Kanye West when the Jews pushed the button on him. And we jumped out there like, man, they doing Kanye dirty. Second episode, go look it up. We came in the game standing on business. We came in the game talking real life substance.
High power.
High power. We not these other niggas, bro. We different. Every time we get around people, man, I don't know how y'all doing this with the shit y'all talking. Y'all ain't been attached to nobody. It's different, bro. We made our own lane. Like, I just literally seen one of these niggas. I know for a fact Cub really want to fuck with us. You tried to clown me for talking.
Yeah, salute that Nia. He feels like a kindred spirit. Not a Kendrick, a kindred spirit. He speaks so eloquently, and then you hear him say "cuh" out of nowhere so comfortably and naturally. My type of guy, that's all I'm saying. Yo, blah, 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 but that was hard.
The way I talk, because, you know, we've been going back and forth with Brick Baby. Like, oh, this nigga talking like he a psychologist, having a...
That's crazy on my mama. When I was having the back and forth with Brick Baby, he tried to speak clown the way I talk too. Tell him about the big words, da-da-da-da. But you know what I find ironic? A lot of times people credit my vocabulary because I went to private school. I don't think it was so much the private school. I think it was more so going to white schools. However, they were private. But Brick Baby himself also has a pretty good education, private school and collegiate. So I think sometimes he purposely dumbs down his vocabulary. I think if Brick Baby chose to speak up toward the higher side of his intellect, I think he can take some of that slang and have a more articulate vocabulary as well, because he's been exposed to another side of life other than just this gutted gangster conversation that we get both when we happen to experience other things. And I'm very grateful. Gita, gratitude is the attitude. I'm grateful for having been given the opportunity to, ascertain a vocabulary that is not as common as it probably should be amongst my peers. On my mama.
What he said, this nigga said basically something along the lines of being smart is actually dumb or something like that, or corny. And I'm like, this is the mindset of these niggas that's representing for West Coast podcast.
It's crazy he say that, because I can recall early last year when I first was coming around No Jumper on a regular basis, and I took the opportunity to ask Adam, hey, yo, you hiring around here? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, what's the requirements for job qualification? And his response was, and Brick Baby was right there, you see these bozos, and I'm not calling the homie no bozo, but in relation to what the homie said, I can see the thought process of what has developed the personalities on the most visual podcast in our sector, owned by the white boy. I see where they get that mind frame, and I understand why he feels like that's our main representation. But I think it is high time for a different look, a more respectable, refreshing platform. And these cats are providing that, as far as I can see.
culture. So the rest of the world thinks we're that. We got to change that. Why is that funny, but not a nigga having a 5-word vocabulary who can only say on the dead homies and on the set? That's the shit you want to the forefront. Like, come on, bro. Expand your mind, because a lot of y'all haven't left that 4-block radius you grew up in, and you 50, 40, 35.
Oh, my mama, that's so immature to go back to the mind frame of the smart kid, the nerd is not cool, when we was trying to skip school and fuck up and be the gangsters and laugh at the nigga in the books. Then we grew up and got caught cases and had to hire the nigga in the books to save our life. And then when you was locked up, he was fucking your wife. And now here it is, when the main tool is public speaking and vocabulary, and we was always taught, whatever you do your best, put your best foot forward, always try. Who doesn't go into the public to speak and try to speak to the best of their ability? Why would you come in the public and try to do less than your best at anything you attempt, speaking included?
You ain't left the block. You don't know what's out in the real world. Like Kylie just said, what you think this is your reality is a speck in the ocean. It's a thread on this carpet. You see how big this carpet is? This is like the world. You only have experienced one thread of this motherfucker.
And I think a lot of people don't step outside of it because they know they more than likely don't measure up. Not that they never can, but it would take work for you to measure up to other people and other things. So as long as I stay in here, I'm top dog. Ain't nobody fucking with me. But if I go outside, I might be
That part.
I might not make the most money, right? I might not be the smartest. I might not be the coolest, or whatever the case
That's
is.
when you reach your best potential, when you're around
Exactly.
people that are doing better. Because then when you're in that room networking, you can learn, you can pick up the lingo. That's just basically like when people are saying they want to lose weight at the beginning of the year. Even if you just go to the gym, naturally you're going to lose weight because the environment you in. You're going to do that. If you're not educated, you go to a library, you just start picking up little books at a time that you can read with your understanding. Eventually your vocabulary will expand. Your reading is going to get better. You just got to put yourself in better position to expand and do more. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like our culture, as far as like the Black podcast, is either hypersexual, gang banging, you know what I'm saying, violent. It's so watered down and diluted where everybody's talking about the same thing. So when you do get us on here, we like a breath of fresh air. So that's why the hate go come. That's why being smart is go seem lame, because again, they can't measure up.
Hey, in the beginning, I think I shouted out to Brandon Boy. Because I recently subscribed to their channel, and I've watched a number of clips. And when I began and prepared to do this reaction, I thought Brandon was on here. But this is not that clip. He was on another clip. But I think he is a member of this group, though.
Time a nigga say that, they just intimidated.
But
That's all that
let's
is.
keep it G. Whoever liked it being dumb, nobody did, nigga. That's why the niggas who couldn't read in class never
Got
raised their
clowned.
motherfucking hand.
Oh, yeah, popcorn.
You popcorn their ass. They
reading
never wanted to
crazy.
say nothing.
They saying
Then they
Island
ready-
instead of
then they-
island.
Ready to fight.
They ready to fight the nigga that's popcorn. Nigga should never call me, nigga.
Motherfucker
So,
saying Island. No, that's island,
But
motherfucker.
even on top of that, I just think you got to define yourself and define who you are. It's like, if y'all choose to do that, that's cool. Just don't complain when the kickback comes. Don't cry about it. Don't do nothing about none of that when them other forces come at you. If you choose to be in a negative space every day, 24/7, that's on you. It's your life. But at the same time, most people don't know what they want. If you ask somebody what they want, they don't know what they want. You know what I'm saying?
real
Oh, I
talk.
don't know what I'm doing. You
They
just
want
you
$1 million,
going with them-
but what you go do?
yeah, you just drifting, and you a drifter. That's one of the worst things you could be at that point.
Facts.
It's like you might as well, I don't know, you might as well find the biggest building and find the fastest way down at that point, because that's all you're doing in a different form. So it's like, find something, define what you want, know what you want, and a lot of people, that's what make you unique in the things that you like and you're into. So a lot of people will shade that and mask it and feel like they got to be what everybody else is, because people are scared to be their true selves.
That's what happened to the rap game in general, in large. All of a sudden, everybody that cut a record was a gangster. And that just was not the reality at that time. It seems like then life started mimicking art versus art mimicking life, because now we started raising a generation of artists who actually come from the actual environment of the activities. It's crazy.
That's all it is.
1%ers. That's what separate us, the 1%ers. When everybody go left, we went right. Everybody went right, we went left. And you can just look at COVID for an example. That's the perfect example. Following the crowd ain't always the best thing. Following the crowd is like following the herd to the slaughterhouse.
Oh, my mama, I never took the GNAB, and he just brought another thought to my mind. I was educated and told, I've seen content that expresses as much. You could go look it up. Back in the, I believe it was either the 1940s or I think it was the 1940s when hemp and marijuana was legal. And just like prohibition with alcohol, there was a time where they deemed it illegal. And the whole logic and psyche behind them making marijuana illegal was this, to my understanding. If we're in a society that you have to have communal thinking, people have to be on the same page to a large degree. And if they're not, you'll have chaos in a community or society. You have to have group thinking. So they have to program the people, the members of society, to think a certain way and move a certain way for this, what we consider a society, to be successful. You can't have a whole lot of people thinking for themselves. And it's told that marijuana inspires free thinking, to the extent that if we were in a long line going to a slaughterhouse and there's hundreds of people in front of us just walking in, they going there getting their head cut off, and they not even thinking twice about it. They not blinking. They're seeing the people in front of them go, and they're going right behind them. Well, it is taught and told and thought that marijuana, TMC, the marijuana-thon continues, that marijuana, if you and I are in the back of that line and we the only two smoking, passing it back and forth, it's going to trigger us to think like, hey, check it out. You know this motherfucker's going in there. They ain't going out, man. Yeah, I seen that. Hey, we better get out this line. That's what marijuana does. So, it might be more effective for the large causes than you realize.
Bullshit. That's where everybody else is going. Next thing you know, your ass getting put through the wood chipper. So, as far as the black content world,
Tried to rewind it a little bit and just got it. I got it choppy stuttering. Let me see.
have a plan. Content world, have a
way to do things. And I feel like that's how our culture, and especially the podcast, operates. They don't think about the casualties, quote unquote, that they're going to leave behind when they put out this damaging content. They just know, hey, I'm getting my chili off of it. I'm getting certain connections. People is fucking with me. And that's really all I care about. I don't necessarily care about what it's doing to the people and how it's affecting them. And that's one of the big things that do have to stop, in my opinion.
And that's why we see, when it comes to other nationalities, they know once a pictures get painted, or they know the power of that affecting this on their whole race. Because that's why you see, if a Jew comes out and you're not representing the Jews right,
They will check
You
you.
out of
yeah,
here.
they're gonna come get on that. And the same thing with different races. They're gonna make sure, because you represent yourself as a man at the end of the day, but just understand the kickback and the
Propaganda.
effects of the power of you. You have more power than you think. Everybody, you listening to this, got more power than you think. You know what I'm saying? So just us as a people, at some point, we always say the same shit. When do we want better for yourself? But a lot of people don't. A lot of people really hate themselves. A lot of people really don't believe they can do nothing outside of where they're at now. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to break those mental barriers. And that's why we always talk about cultivating the mind and doing different stuff. People can't sit down and read a book for 10 minutes, let alone even sit down for 10 minutes. So it's just like, we got a long way to go, but hopefully we see some transition.
We leading the way. We are the transition. We the wave. I keep telling y'all, we ain't worried about views. We ain't got to be the most viewed. We are the most impactful, though. You can look at everybody who got the highest view count and then look at the impact they've had over the culture over the last 2 years versus the impact we had. And we came from the dirt, nothing, zero cosigns. We started this by ourselves, co-signed ourselves, and we pushed so hard and respectable that it became lame to not support. You gotta support or you start to look like a hater when you don't support the real. That just is what it is. So we're gonna keep leading the way. The viral way.
Oh, it's not fair to say. My bad. That's what I call them. The Viral Way podcast. And I guess I'm late, but y'all have my support at this date. It's very refreshing to see brothers on there popping it like y'all popping it. The intellect, the range, the diversity, the fact that you really from this to a certain extent. I don't know if everybody's affiliated, but I can tell everybody is aware and educated on all the elements that cause our environment to be what it is, but to have the courage, the desire to step outside of that box and be something different, I applaud that. Oh, my mama, we got to learn above all things.
Neighborhood Net Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
It's the homie Cook-Up Boss, goddammit, Cub Low. And y'all tuning in to the Wake and Bake Show with goddammit the homeboy Spider Low.
Here with SPI, the realest nigga in LA.
Spider this bitch!
My nigga is Spider Low. Spider Low, nigga.
Spider Low.
It's Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low, that's my nigga.
Spider Low.
Spider Low. Shout out to SPI, that motherfucking nigga.
Spider Low, Wake and Bake. Better keep it Google, nigga.
Loke is in LA somewhere doing what he's doing.
In the words of Spider Loke on my mama's mama.
Spider Loke's gear. This is Bay Mac.
Nate Blood, C-Mac. Shout out my Loke, Spider Loke, cuz. Nate Blood, on hood. It's a beautiful world. You fight me? Fight, Craig.
Point blank, do no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I can tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing him. I done trained my mind that I'm going. You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you thought? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be, yeah.